Yeah, we went back and did that. That's the $5 on that.
So how do you guys know when you're going to find a good deal?
Hey, hi, Duane.
Good morning. Good morning. How you doing?
You get my email this morning?
Yeah, I did.
Last time I was on the computer was, I think it was Saturday.
Okay.
In the summertime, I kind of drift away from always doing stuff, you know.
Sure.
You're coming for breakfast with us, ain't you?
Yeah, for sure.
Dad's buying.
He's buying.
Oh, you know you got to go then. Yeah, I'm going too. Yeah, he's buying. I'm going. Yep, that's for sure. You buy anything or?
I can't figure out why he eats so much when I buy.
Yeah, you know, overload.
Well, have you found anything? What do you got there today? What's that look?
That's a half-inch set, complete set.
Yeah.
A swivel and the holder.
Yeah, and what did that run you today?
Most of the sockets they sell around here for $1, or the bigger sockets like this, $1.50.
Yeah. Woo.
I stole it.
You.
Yeah, that's a steal. And I bought a, what else did I buy? Oh, I bought a little dresser wrench for a quarter. And,
tools. What's
Hey.
the son of a Kuss without a tool, right?
Hey, we can't come here without buying something for tools. You know, he's like, took me a while to get the tools that he's got. You know, and I keep buying them every week. I keep buying until I get them all.
Someday.
And when you're playing in the garage like he does and I do, you run into that little morphin-dyke job. You got to have that oddball stuff or the knowledge. And as we're Daune and I are, we can bump heads because we're two of a kind. We'll Mickey Mouse something, or we'll stay with it till we get it one way or the other.
Now, where did you get that characteristic? Did Grandpa Hugo have it, or where'd that come from?
Yeah, he was kind of a makeshift guy, wasn't he, Don?
When I was probably 3 years old, I went out in the machine shed and watched Pa take the spark plugs out of the Model T and scrape them, you know, clean them. He would run fuel oil, gasoline, carburetor, kerosene, anything.
Anything would burn.
Burn, you know. And it choked up the spark plugs, and so he'd clean them occasionally, and so it's a case where I took interest in engines. So.
Yeah. Yeah, like I say, mechanical ability is both of us. We that's why every week we talk to each other, you know, and we talk mechanics, and he can go right back to the olden days where it kind of leaves you younger guys out with the point systems and all this before they had electronic stuff, you know. Then they get deeper into the electronics and stuff. Well, it's kind of where your dad dropped off, and I'm trying to stay with it, and it's kind of ain't the easiest, you know, to learn all that stuff. Like you come around else, I can plug in your car and tell you what's wrong with it, you know, stuff like that. But to stay with it, well, there's certain things you just can't. You go in uncharted waters. Same with him. Both of us are like we can't do it. That's why we got to talk to Jerry. You know, talk to the man into that electronic stuff, and it gets more complicated as it goes.
Sure.
If you ain't got the equipment, you're screwed. That's where Don and I are. That's why we still play with the old stuff.
I'm gonna say, what's your favorite piddle right now? What are you toying with that you're trying to tweak? Motorcycle or
I had my son,
lawnmower or what?
My son gave me a motorcycle that I went through it from front to rear. You name it, I did it to it. I changed fork oil to even the fuses. I put in all new fuse holders. I got an older. So the bike's 30 years old, but the muscle in it is unbelievable. It'll snap your neck back. It's a 1100 Yamaha. It's the first one they made in '78, and it's only got. My son bought it when it had 17,000. Now it's got 29 on it. I got it. In fact, he gave it to me, and it's 30 years old. But I'll tell you, at the stop sign, I can embarrass the guys that got brand new $15,000 motorcycles. Don't even try it, buddy. I'll walk away from like the stand. It's got so much muscle, you can't believe it. I'm talking about usable power now. If you and I were your Goldwing would go along side by side, I could be in 5th gear, you could probably be in 3rd and would still walk right away from you. Right now, just snap your neck back. You cannot believe it. You have to drive it to believe it.
In the right direction.
Yeah, 100 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour, nothing.
What did you find?
And like I say, Becky gave it to me, so I really had fun bringing it back. If Marlin was still alive, every time he'd come to look at it, he'd be have to wear his Depends. That's yeah, that's so fun. He had one when he bought his. It had about 40,000 on it. It pulled the trailer, pretty good sized wife and everything, you know, and kind of getting a little tired in the sun. It was still fast then, you know. So, but this one here, when Rick bought it, only had 17,000 actual.
Okay.
So this one's healthy.
Still young.
See you later. I'm going to choir practice.
Yeah.
Okay, have fun.
Anyway, I went through it from front to rear, and it's. Well, Ricky, him and I go for breakfast. I go and pick him up on his bike, and we go for breakfast in the Heights. Every last Sunday morning, same thing. Let's go to Duluth. I said, nah, I'm riding, but I ain't quite into that far yet. And last Sunday, same thing. We rode into town and come back, and Duluth. I said, no, I ain't going. No. But yeah, I play around. I got a scooter too.
Do you?
Oh yeah, I got a 250 scooter. I've been playing with that too. Little here, little there. Yeah, like I say, Don and I, he ain't playing with his lawnmower. One of us are hitting something that's got a motor on it. I'm looking for them little twists. You seen any, Don, yet? Them little twists yet? I haven't seen any yet. We're running out of things here, and I don't see them yet. I know, I swear I've seen him before here. He had a set. I'll have to ask him. I forget what you call them. Maybe they're down here.
Yeah, nice.
Trees in the shade.
Had them now, they're all gone. You don't even got no more for sale.
Ran out, huh?
Yeah, it ain't an emergency deal. You can buy them any hardware store, but I was kind of like the, get in. You know, you're getting a pretty good deal.
So as you guys come here every week, now
Yeah.
how do you figure?
We know where every place is, where you get to buy, where you don't.
It's always
get
the
to buy.
same. It's the same people every time.
Most of them.
It through the middle, basically they stay the same. You know, there's a guy that sells vacuum cleaner supplies up there, and old Junkie Joe is always there, and so on. But out in these fringe sections, the new ones show up, and they're the interesting ones, and they're the ones that you probably end up with a better buy.
Yeah, they're the ones that just want to get rid of. They just want to get rid of their stuff.
Okay.
They want to get rid of it.
they-
Now here's a guy here. You can go to his thing. Anything you buy from him, you know you're not going to get screwed. He just
He's
gives it
the
away.
only one here that has a good buy on most everything, and he's here every week. But
Yeah.
a lot of them that are established, they know their prices, and they hold their prices up as high as they
He
can.
treats everybody right, and he's such a good guy. He won't even screw his wife.
So do you?
Little joke there.
Do you now? Is it standard to dicker? I mean, is that just part of the process, or does it?
Well, you do if you find something that's that you want or like to have, and it's a little bit high priced, then you make them an offer or something. See, but guys like this one over here, where he's got his dollar table, hell, you know, you give them the buck and you grab your buy and you take off. You know, you don't have to dicker with him.
Proof is in the pudding. Come on over here and look.
All right, let's go look.
Hey, in fact, all my socks I buy from him. He's got special diabetic socks, you know, they really, if you were to send for them, you know, you pay like $10 for one pair, 3 for $3.50, and if you up the ante, you might even throw in another one. I've been buying them for years. Oh, that's the only thing I wear. Yeah, I don't like anything, if I feel a tightness on my leg, I can't stand it. That's why I take all in the old days, I used to cut the tops off all the time. Now I bought these and they're special, and even after a while I learned, I still cut the tops off these too. Yeah, I have to. Yep. Yeah, when you get older, you want comfort.
Yeah.
Comfort counts, and you'll do anything to get it.
Go ahead.
Something need rub?
Yeah, he's got a lot of stuff that needs rub. He's looking for somebody to put it on. That's his problem.
That's why I'm getting rid of it. Good luck.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. You look like you're lonely. Yep.
Looking for somebody to do the rubbing, huh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep.
Can't find any takers.
Yeah. Well, you know, he'll probably tell you, don't rub his wife the wrong way, you know. Yeah.
It's for breakfast.
All
You
right.
ain't got nothing. You can always weld it up and go either way.
Right.
Yep. Use it for a leverage wrench.
Now, word has it, sir, that you have the best prices anywhere. You're the fairest player in all of this entire enterprise. What's the key? What's the trick to your magic?
Well, there's knowing who you can cheat and who you can't. That's a lot of it.
How did you get into this initially?
Oh, I guess because I was broke and it worked.
It worked. How many years you been doing it?
About 10.
10 years. And you come here once a week, is it?
Wednesdays.
Wednesdays? And then where else do you go in terms of your product?
No place now.
Just here. Is that right?
Used to run, what do they call it? On Daune Highway 8, we used to go there, but I haven't done that for years.
Where do you come up with most of the things that you have for sale here? Where do you do your hunting?
Auctions.
Auctions?
Lots of them.
Okay. Okay.
And sometimes yard sales.
All right. Well, we were walking through here, and the guy said, "Well, there's one place that's fair, and we got to go there to check it out." And that was here. So thank you.
Yeah, I try to treat them right.
Yeah, that's the word. That's your word and your reputation. If you don't have that, what else have you got, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yes.
Thanks for your.
You know, she gives you this, she can't see all the time. She sees a whole lot better than I do, I think. There we go.
You're not hanging out with those guys, are you?
I am. Oh, I found it.
Yeah. Everybody think you're an old person walking in with that thing, think you got a cane. They think, boy, that guy walks too good. He don't need that cane.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
That's about
To
it.
drink here.
I would like coffee, please. Thank you. So another day at the...
Yeah, we've been doing this for years. Same old. We did it back if you think about it, back years ago there. Flameburger.
Sure.
In fact, I talked to we were there a week ago, and I talked to the waitress that she remembers Daune and I used to come there every Friday. She looks identical the way she did when she first started.
Really?
Slim and trim, had her babies, and got a tan, and unbelievable. She's just like just older looking.
Huh.
You know, she ain't like us that get fat and wrinkly, and she stayed the same. Maybe a few wrinkles. So what's your hobby besides picture taking and movies?
Actually, that's my profession.
Electronic.
That's my profession. I tell...
Ready to order?
Yeah. Duane don't know that.
I want a
You guys tell me. I know you, whatever...
a couple of pancakes and no sugar syrup.
Okay.
A loaded hash browns.
Okay.
They're say if you like hash browns, they're really good. I'm not real good, but whatever. They got anything you like. They're good pancakes, everything.
Boy, that number 3 looks good to me.
Toast pancakes or French toast?
Pancakes, please.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, I've told... I started telling stories on the internet September 1st of 2005. I've now told 1,600 stories.
You ain't got nothing on your dad.
How's that?
He ain't on the internet, but don't stop him from telling stories. Right, Don?
Boy, it's a gorgeous day.
Oh, beautiful.
Just all of a sudden, boom, here's summer.
Yeah, that's right. Everybody say it's too warm and this and that, but hey, it sure beats the cold, and
Oh, yeah.
and it'll slow you down a little bit and hide in the shade a little bit and look for some wind. Well, like right now, even outside, we get a little shade. Hello.
Hi. How are ya?
Not too bad. We still look shabby, but we feel pretty good.
So you feel better than you look?
Oh yeah.
Or you look better than you feel?
Do we feel as good as you look?
Do you feel as good as I look? I've never felt yet.
We're not going to tell you either.
Oh, boy. So, what's the latest on the rest of the family? Everybody's doing A-okay? And
Yeah.
how did Rick... Was it last summer that he bought that boat from the next door neighbor to Dad?
Yeah.
How did that turn out?
Yeah, he thinks it's supposed to go faster than what it is. I think probably the prop. He thinks it should go faster than what it does. Otherwise, it's good setup. He likes it. He got a good buy. He's enjoying it. He's using what it's for, fishing. He's been fishing quite a bit up there at Grand Rapids. In fact, they were killing the fish at Little Split Hand. That was so good. They went up one weekend, he went up another weekend. It was his brother-in-law's birthday party. Him and his son still went. They forget the birthday party. We got fishing are burning up. They're smoking.
What kind of fish were they catching?
Northerns and a lot of crappies, even bass.
Really?
Yeah, they did really good. He enjoys it. But like I say, I'm not a boat guy. I don't know, what prop we should have. Maybe, to say. Mark was kind of coaching me a little bit. I said, don't go as fast as you want. So what? Rick likes speed. He likes something when he would go from here to here. Just the other day, he bought a 650, another new one, 650 Suzuki DR, you know, the street dirt.
Yeah.
More for the street than it is for the dirt. And he took off and he started taking off and he started going down. He got about a few feet and pulled a wheelie. He still can do that at his age. He still likes that.
Well, isn't he the... Which one had the new Goldwing?
That's the same one who's got this dirt bike. He bought a couple now. He bought the Goldwing a couple years ago. Now he bought another new one. That's why he had 3 bikes. And I kind of talked him out of his the 1100 Yamaha. He was taking up space in his garage. And, yeah, and it was a charging problem. And he says, "Well, get rid of your problem." So he practically gave it to me, you know. In fact, we were up at Larson Cycle when I was getting my part, and he told the guy, he says, "Yeah," he says, "I sold it to him so cheap, I'm embarrassed to tell you." Yeah.
What kind of Goldwing does he have?
He got the best one you can buy.
1800?
Yeah, he's had that for a couple of years now.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Hey, if you ever drove one, them things are fast. In fact, I'll tell you, the Harley guy, the neighborhood says that in his group of guys and all these Harleys and stuff, he says his Goldwing was always beating everybody, you know, all the Harleys like nothing. I can see where it beat them like nothing.
Right.
Even an older one like you got would beat them. And then there was one guy that had a Harley, a brand new Harley with a Screaming Eagle kit on it. And those are real expensive. They really pep them up. They really got some zip to them. And he said he beat the Goldwing. But I'll bet that's a stripped Harley beating a full-dress Goldwing.
Sure.
Because Goldwings don't come with all the crap on. But like I say, Rick's, I can't believe how fast it is. It's unbelievable. Fuel injection, all that stuff.
Yeah, right. Well, heaters and coolers.
Yeah, it's got, yeah. In fact, his back seat, the seat was on, the heater was on. He didn't know it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's got a separate switch for that.
Yeah,
Turn the
yeah.
heat off. It's got a GPS system on there and everything.
Jeez.
It's got all that, got radio, all that.
Did you ride your machine over today?
Yeah, I rode over. It's beautiful. Great day.
Yeah.
Great day.
You ever check your gas mileage?
Oh, I get 40, 42, almost
Yeah.
constant.
That's about the same with me. I mean,
Yeah,
ballpark
constant.
too.
Yeah.
That's what easy driving, but I know if I goose it, they'll eat it. They like it then, if you twist that throttle too much.
So now, is it the one you got, is that shaft drive or is that chain?
Yeah, it's got shaft.
Is it?
In fact, that was ahead of its time. You got all the stuff that this has already had for 30 years. Or the Goldwing too. Dual disc brakes in the front, disc in the rear, electronic ignition. Even the signal lights cancel.
Really?
And it's got the drive shaft and oh yeah, then the gas. You don't turn them. It shuts off vacuum. Shuts the
Oh,
gas
sure.
off. Start it up. The vacuum opens up. Pours the gas down. It's all got it. All the modern tech stuff, you know.
Cool.
Really,
And what year is that one again?
78. Wow. The first year they come out, that was the hot rod one. It was a standard. It's kind of ugly. They had the standard and they had the special, and I didn't really care for the standard. They're ugly. In fact, this one's kind of an ugly duckling too, but it's more for the touring. Then they come out with the special in '79, which I bought brand new.
Okay.
Him and Lloyd and I, we went to California on them and back. We put, I don't know how many miles, nothing less than 80 miles an hour. Beat the hell out of them. And when I got rid of mine, it had 45,000 on it. And I bought a Goldwing. And then I realized, hey, the Goldwing, I made a full dress, and it wasn't my kind of bike either.
Too much or what?
Too much crap on them. They don't go fast enough. They don't handle. But that was in the olden days, which they were literally.
I hear these
just about
1800s are just awesome in terms of their handling.
Oh,
They're just
you better believe it. They do. Yeah. Rick's is. Well, they took. That's why they're so successful. They took a bike and they kept making it better and better. You know it yourself. That's why the Japanese are so successful. Whether it's a car, motorcycle, they leave everybody on the dust.
Yeah.
You better start copying, or you're going to be in trouble. And that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
And that's why the Goldwing is so successful. Even Harleys, them big ones, the big buck ones too. They don't leak oil. They don't break down. They push the button and go. They're even nice. The good news. The bad news is you're going to pay,
arm and a leg.
Arm and a leg because it's a Harley. You say Harley? You say John Deere? Oh, extra money. You got to have extra money for it. That's what it's all about. It ain't no better, but it's got extra money. Yep. It's the name of the game.
Of course, you talk about the old days when you used to ride 10 miles and get your wrench out, right?
That's about it. That's about it.
What was the model of Harley that you had back then? What was it called?
Well, mine was Hydroglide
74 or what?
Hydroglide 74, yeah. Yeah.
What was the longest ride you did with that thing?
Oh, from here to Findlay, North Dakota.
What was in Findlay?
What was in Findlay?
Yeah.
Air base, radar station.
Oh, okay. When you were in the service, you still had it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I rode it up there, and I used to chase in North Dakota. Chased around up there on it, and then ended up coming down to Fargo and trading it in on a car.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
What kind of car did you get?
47 Dodge.
So what was the moment of that? When did you realize it was time to drop the bike and get a car?
Women,
Yeah, what was,
probably girls.
Well, you can only ride a bike in nice weather. It sits all winter. But a car is something you can use all the time. And I was, I think motorcycle was a fun deal for chasing. And I got it out of my system. Hell, I decided to put a roof on it, and a heater in it, air conditioner. I'm comfortable all the time.
And he's been bored ever since.
But tell me one more time that maybe you remember the story, the one about where you were dragging somebody on Central Avenue and you hit the streetcar track, or what was that story again?
Oh, that was on my Indian.
Oh yeah?
And
Rocket oil.
I started to pass the car in front of, by the drugstore, and he speeded up. And so naturally I had to speed up. Next thing you know, I'm going 50 miles an hour in front of the Heights Theater, and I was in the middle of the street, and I went to cross over, and that area had there was streetcar tracks, and it was the concrete was a high ridge, and when my back wheel hit that ridge, I suppose it was because I was still accelerating. It whipped me back. The back tire just whipped down and flopped me on my side, and I started to slide on the roll bars, and I had to hang on. And so by the time I got stopped, I was up in front of Rocket Oil, and
Was that by the bowling alley left roughly, or?
Yeah.
Right next to it in the corner.
Okay.
A little bit further south in the corner.
and my billfold is what saved my rear end. I was scraped pretty bad on it also, but the billfold was almost rubbed in half, and the roll bars and handlebar also got rubbed down pretty bad from the concrete, and so it was very embarrassing. But I got up and drove it on down to work.
Down to Sullivan's?
I was on my lunch hour.
It wasn't too many years later, just what he went through, I went through the same thing on a bicycle. I was going to Camden, and I was going in back of Dad's work, the American Brake Shoe in Oldham Railroad.
Yep.
I got in the same predicament he got, and I went down on a bicycle. Same exact same thing. It was a little wet, a little bit raining, and caught the wheel and threw me down. Yeah.
What's your worst moment on a bike? on a motorcycle?
I have so many of them, I don't know. People say,
The first one was when you drove in the rain home from work with that
Yeah.
Riverside and you hit the back end of a car.
yeah, but people say, well, gee, you're riding and ain't that dangerous? And it's so dangerous. I said, well, hell, if you're in bed having a good time, you fell out, break your arm, are you going to go back into that bed? I think so. It's fun. It's called fun. There's only, like I say, it gets in your blood, motorcycle. There's only two kinds of people in this world. Those that got bikes and those that want bikes. So I leave it at that. Well,
But, I was thinking about that, the riding over. What is it? What is it that...
it's a free feeling. It's a free feeling. And like me, I got to have, I want the feeling of power. And I got power.
But I mean, cars, you can get some pretty damn powerful cars. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
What's
but
the
bike-
difference?
the bike, I'll give you an example, and you're a biker yourself, and nobody can experience it but a biker. Like right now, this time of year, you ride in the city, you go by these trees, and they're in bloom, and the apple blooms, and you smell all that nice smell. You go out into South Dakota, you smell the pines, you can get the smell. You can't get that in a car. You'd be like riding in a submarine looking out the periscope. The view we get is 100%. The cars, no way. It's just partial. Bike, and like you say, Rick, my oldest son Rick, he's like me, chip off the old block. He's got to have his motorcycles. He's got four-wheelers. How many? Bikes, motorcycles. How many? He's like me. He got to have more than one. And he's just like I say, chip off the old block.
What do you think? But yet, somebody sitting over there would totally disagree with you and me, because I'm with you. What is it? Is there something genetically, or what do you think?
Nah, it's because they've been told or something, and they're scared, or if they're not of good balance, and if you ain't got agility and you ain't quick thinking, you better stay the hell off of motorcycles. You're gonna get hurt. I got fast reflexes. My reflexes are just as fast as they were when I was young, and that'll help you keep you alive. I got hundreds of thousands of miles on me, and like I say, it keeps you going. I see many times I would have got wiped out. Sometimes you got I have had intuitions that somebody's going to pull out on me, and they did.
Yep.
If I wasn't ready for them.
Well, on the way here today, I passed two cars, ended up behind a truck, and he throws on the brakes.
Yep.
And if you aren't there right now, baby, it's all over.
That's right.
Yeah.
You got to really drive defensively. You got to expect the unexpected. And if you aren't one of those kind of persons, if you have a few close calls, some people call it quits, and probably they should.
Yeah.
And never ride again. And you can't blame them.
Right.
Who wants to get scared to death, Like I say, they're not for everybody.
Dad
will give it a try, some people won't.
Dad brought up the old Riverside, and of course I got fond memories of that. That was the first motorcycle ride I ever had when you brought me out to Sullivan Lake. Remember, there used to be a big pile of dirt there, and you gave me this ride, and we rode to the top of that dirt pile, and I never forgot that.
There were so many places to ride for off-the-road riding. In fact, dirt bike riding, road bike riding is easy. Anybody can do it. It's like riding a four-wheeler. Ride a four-wheeler, anybody can ride them. You go on the dirt, you better know your P's and Q's. You take you in the sand, I'll make you a bet. 90% of the bikers on the road couldn't take a motorcycle, a dirt bike, go through the sand, they'd fall right down. I know they would. And the mud, the water, that's where the fun is really, in the dirt. That's where you got a stepped up motorcycle, you have a blast. But the kids too that played in the dirt and learned on smaller bikes and stuff like that, like yourself probably, it prepares you for the road, and that's why you make a better road bike person out of you. You can go through this training and stuff with a cycle plan. That's fine for the beginners and stuff. But old guys like me, I still can take a bike and go real slow and with them tests out in South Dakota to do that. I can do all that crap. I don't need no tests. We're the teacher, not the student. You know what I mean?
Like after the
that I think I can hang in there.
Yeah.
But man, it's biting.
Everybody's kind of, even myself, figuring out how to cut a couple corners. I don't go as much. I take the bike. My gasoline bills have gone down quite a bit. I ramble a lot. Put a lot of miles on.
I'll bet you do.
I got that car last December.
Well, that's that super deal you got again,
Yeah,
right?
and
I think I heard about that.
It only had 38,500 on it when I got it. You know, I got over 50,000 on it right now, and I don't drive that thing. I drive Jen's. She makes me drive her van once in a while and go with her in the van. Use her van, and I drive motorcycle all the time. So I put a lot of miles on it. I bum a lot. And then Mary, she. I even drive her car once in a while. She wants me to take it to bug it up here.
Sure.
Give it a little exercise, which does it good, you know. And I maintain that car too. I change oil. Take care of that one too. Yeah, it doesn't know that little putting driving, short run driving, will kill a vehicle quicker than anything.
Yeah.
Like Mary's there, I expect the exhaust system to probably go pretty quick. You know, maybe a couple more years. That'll start.
Yeah.
She just starts it up, drives
Goes
to
a half a block. Yeah.
Overs to here, then back home. All the condensation builds up, don't get out.
Yeah.
It's on its way. We got girls got a van like we got, and they just short run drive. And when they drive by, the old exhaust system making noise. That's the way it is. You pay the price.
You were talking about this bike you got. Was that the same thing that Marlin had before, or was
Well,
it?
you've seen 178 Yamaha. You said it was they're all like the standard was. There was no special in '78. They all were like.
So that was the same bike
That
he
was the
had.
same bike, yeah.
Is that the one he had out in South Dakota that he almost took his head off with?
No,
or?
that was a different one. He went through a few bikes too. That's the one that got stolen. Still had to make the payments. And he finally got his title a few years later in the mail. We got the title. Good news. Bad news is if I only had the bike. Left the keys in it at the bar. They stole it.
No
It was that
kidding.
white one. I don't know if you remember it. It was a white. He put it full dress and then had a guy that do pinstriping.
Okay.
He says, "Go wild." Yeah, the guy went wild. He didn't go wild. He went gaudy.
Really?
Yeah. He overdid it. Everything was just too much. Pinstripe's supposed to be a little touch here, touch there.
just enough.
This one was like a paint job, and it was gaudy. And Marlin thought he really had something. You know, he thought every time he took it out, he was in a parade. You know, turn the radio up a little louder and look at me. You know. And then before that, I had a radio on my bike, which I don't play. I never was much for radios, but when I go to South Dakota, then I get bored on Highway 90 doing nothing. I tune in the station for a little something. I ain't interested in radios, but then after Marlin, then he'd always say, "Oh, do you want a radio?" This and I said, "Oh, just for the highway." Then when he got his bike, got a radio. Oh my God, the bike, played. He at a stop sign, a car would be here, and he'd be coming along, and his radio was blasting. And instead of pull out in the middle like everybody else, he'd rip right over alongside this car. The guy would be right there, and music blasting, and I got to tell you one that this is a collector item from my memory bank, and Jan will never forget it. We were down in Rochester, and of course he had this white elephant motorcycle with a Gaudy, and the radio wasn't good enough. He had to have speakers, so he had speakers and plugged in here, and then one for my Patty. I'm gonna marry her, my Patty, and she was in the back. And so anyway, we come to a stop sign, and the light was on red, and we waited. Marlin says, "Wait a minute, I'll fix that." He puts the stand down, gets off the bike, and starts to walk away. Those things were plugged in. It almost snapped his neck off. Oh, funny, everybody's laughing around then. He damn near jerked the motorcycle over. Oh, that was so funny. You'll never forget that. And Jan won't either, too. Him and his toys, that stuff like that. Oh, that was funny. Yeah. That's him and his music. Oh. Yeah, there's a lot of things. I've got a lot of bike memories, I've got hundreds of thousands of miles on the bikes, I get rid of them around 45, like my Yamaha I had, a 79 I bought, brand new. Well, I got rid of that in a few years. I had 45,000 miles on it, and I didn't ride it back and forth to work. I didn't ride it during the week. I just rode it on weekends. When we go riding on weekends, we'd wrap off 400 to 500 to 600 miles one day. One day. Oh yeah. Everybody had radar detectors. We're fast riders. We drove usually nothing less than 80. We'd monkey around. They say we put a lot of miles on it.
I did Omaha, Nebraska to home one day. That was 950, but I only did that once in my life.
Yeah. We used to take and we'd get up in the morning and ride out to South Dakota, and that's 650.
Or I'm sorry, it was Cheyenne, Wyoming. I'm sorry,
Oh.
Cheyenne,
Yeah,
Wyoming.
we'd get on the bikes and ride out to South Dakota, set up camp. That's 650 miles to Piedmont, where we stay. Then we turn around and get on our bikes and ride into Rapid City. From then on, same day, we get there around 4, and then ride into Rapid City and see Ron Foley's brother had a Cadillac and sickle dealership in town. And he'd always have us over for a barbecue. And,
Okay.
Oh yeah, we put that was a lot of miles. And then when Lloyd and I, I bet we put on in one day. Oh, well, we drove nothing less than 80 miles an hour. We went out to Sturgis, and from Sturgis we went on to California. California went up to had the bright idea of going through Oregon. I always wanted to see Oregon. Yeah, wrong. Rain the whole time, up through the mountains, and Lloyd took his shoes, his boots off, put them by the heater. The next morning, they curled up like the Wizard of Oz shoes. He could hardly get in them. They shrunk up. He was like walking in high heels. He'll never forget that. It was raining so bad, Duane, when we'd gas up, every time we'd gas up, when you put the gas in, you had to put your hand over from the rain so bad. And then we had to drive we had better windjammer fairings.
Yeah.
And you had to drive over 60, at least 60 or 65 miles an hour to keep the rain off you. So that's what we had to do during the rain. So we really hummed them, boy, I'll tell you. Big, fast miles, boy.
So then, did you come across Oregon back, or how did you?
We come back, went through the mountains. That was beautiful. And then finally stopped raining the next day, and finished going through the mountains, and dropped into Idaho. Mm-hmm. And went across Idaho. There's a place too where we seen a storm coming, and we souped it up more yet to beat the storm. And then one time going down there, we went across. Going down there, we went through Utah before we went to Nevada, and a big rain cloud was coming. It was starting to look like it was getting ready to rain, and started to sprinkle a little bit. And so we stopped, bothered to put on all our rain gear. That's a job.
Oh yeah.
And we had that cheap vinyl stuff too. We didn't buy the good stuff. We buy the vinyl stuff, put it all on, and we just started taking off. And all of a sudden, the sky opened up. Got hotter than hell. We had to stop, take off the rain gear, and then coming home, we got as far as South Dakota. We were just down by Windham, Minnesota. We started running into rain, and we stopped and we put on our cheap PVC rain gear, and we were driving along. All of a sudden, mine let go. Blew the area out here. The thing started beating me to death like a flag in the wind, Well, so we're still laughing about that. Oh, I'll tell you, we run into all kinds of stuff. We were following we took Highway 60 back to cut off 90 down there, and anyway, a lot of truckers travel that road on Highway 60. They still do, and we were going along, and we're coming along about 60, and this trucker up ahead of us purposely veered off the road. When he went off the road, it threw all the rocks back on us. Boy, we got hammered with rocks big time. Probably some Harley. Usually the Harley guys drive the trucks, and he didn't like the Jap bikers, And, Lloyd wanted to kill him. He wanted to follow him right where he's going to get him. And Lloyd says, it's too bad I didn't have a handful of steelies get up ahead and then throw them back. It would bounce up and bam, bam, bam. It would hit the windshield, the radiator, everything. Because the guy he did it deliberately. He went off the road. He went like this here. And all the rocks just hammered us. Boy, Lloyd was really mad. Lloyd wanted to get him. what are you gonna do with a guy sitting way up in the truck? You know, we ain't got nothing. And we were kind of in a hurry to get home, so we didn't deal with it. But boy, we really liked those.
Now, what was the connection to Lloyd again? Help me out here. Was Lloyd a relative or just a friend?
No, just neighbor.
Neighbor?
Neighbor. Yeah. We bought 79 Yamaha 1100s, same bikes. Then we got rid of them. When I got rid of mine, I bought a Goldwing. He got rid of his, bought a Goldwing. I bought the Goldwing stripped, and then I put my own accessories on. And he bought his was called the Interstate, come with the bags and all this stuff. Honda finally figured out that wait a minute, they're losing money. They could be in the accessory business.
See, that's the bike I got. I have the first. The first.
And that's when they started putting accessories on, and they've been doing it ever since. And then the aftermarket stuff kind of dwindled away, like the old windjammers, fairings. Wow, and you had a bike. I didn't care what kind of bike it was. You had a windjammer on it, you know. Honda's, boy, But then Honda, not only did they make a fairing and stuff, it was better than Windjammer. Windjammer had that design, and it was fiberglass. It was heavy. They had a big steel mount system that would go down on the bars on your bike, and where Honda would put it together when they make that bike. Them Japs are so smart. Lighter qualities there. Rick just told me, he says, I was driving down, I said, he's got a remote in his Goldwing too, press a button and the door opens up in the back and all that stuff, He says, you know what happened? He said, I forgot to latch that one compartment here, and it went up like this here, and that little remote jumped right out. He says, it's up northern Minnesota. He's going along, he's lost it. And he just has to open it with a key now.
Sure.
But even that tail trunk, when you open it up, and you got all this room, and it's got a net there and all this crap. There's a secret compartment below that.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, it's unreal. These Goldwings, and then I'm sure the newer ones got a little extra stuff. Better yet, you think where's the end?
Now that I got flashback. Did you work at Sullivan's too?
Yeah. Yeah, we worked together.
Did you? The two of you both worked together at Sullivan's?
Yeah. I'll tell you one time a little story about Sullivan's that Don will never forget. He was so PO'd because I started laughing. I couldn't help it. He was working on a starter, and he was married then with your mom, and he had his gold wedding ring on. Well, it shorted out on the starter solenoid, when he was working on. And that son of a gun got red hot. And he jumped up and down and pulled his hand back and was dancing around there trying to get that ring off. And I couldn't help but laugh. Oh, he got madder than hell at me. You remember that?
Oh yeah.
That's when one of those guys that worked at the station part time. I think they call him Nuts or something.
Now, well, wouldn't that have been a Don and John's that you're talking about now?
No,
This was Sullivan.
Pure Oil, Joe.
Okay.
Joe Sullivan and...
What, Little Joe?
No, we worked at there. I'm talking about there was a little guy that worked there or something. Was it called Nuts?
Little Joe.
No, nothing to do with the Sullivans. We're talking about another guy.
Another guy that worked at Sullivan's.
Worked there part-time.
With you.
Wasn't his name Nuts? Didn't he have something, had a acetylene torch get loose or something one time?
No, that was Little Joe.
This guy had a nickname. He had a nickname. Wasn't it Nuts? If I hear you speaking about him, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Okay, but anyway, yeah.
Little Joe, as far as another nickname, I don't recall it, but
So did Johnny Godava work there too at the same time while you were there also?
Yeah, he was there too. Yep. He was a grease man. Yeah. He worked in the front and Don worked in the rear.
How many stalls did Sullivan have?
2.
2.
They had a lift and they had a drop down. They did away with them after a while. They kill people. They walk in there, you know, and they fall over the edge, a little kid or something, you know. They were pretty.
Called it a pit.
Yeah, pretty dangerous, you know. But they're handy. Go down and work on
Well,
a car.
and they do it now. All these quick lube places, isn't it? Yeah, that.
No, they have, don't they have
Yeah,
pits?
yeah,
Do they have pits
yeah.
again?
Yep,
Oh, I
they're
don't-
using pits again.
I never go to them. I do my own work.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't know. I never been to one.
Yeah, they're using the pit again.
Really?
No, we had a 4-car garage on the back of that building. You know, there was 2 stalls
2 stalls
in the front and
by the
4,
pumps. Yeah.
4 in the back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So there's a whole big crew of people working.
Well, yeah, there was about 6 of them.
Yeah, Oscar, Ted,
Yeah.
and then what's his name? What's it? Yeah, the older Sullivan, of your age.
Well, Joe and Ed Sullivan, and then Ted Yosker, and then they had a number of other guys that worked in the front. And then in the back, well, it was Little Joe and me for a long time, but then I took over the back.
Yeah.
And Little Joe was in the Army.
So how did the Skelly opportunity come along? Did they approach you at Sullivan's, or
Yeah,
is that right?
yeah. Yeah, Ralph Sundberg approached me. And that was, I found out many years later it was a schoolmate of mine, Bob Mogg, that was had something to do with Skelly Oil, you know, a connection whereby anyway he's the one that recommended Sundberg to check with me on that new station, and so that was really the connection. But anyway, it was that was kind of a sore spot because Dick Sullivan and Bob Mogg were somewhat friends at one time, and so anyway, the Sullivan family were pretty shook up when I left to go to the other station, and especially when Johnny went with me.
Okay, what big one? What small one?
So, like I say, that was a kind of a sore spot for a while because Joe was never able to get a mechanic to run the place successfully after that, and he ended up folding the business.
Yeah. How many years did it go on? Do you remember?
Oh, it probably went on another 10 years, but they probably after about 10 years or so, they folded up and built a motel.
Did they build the motel themselves, or they sold the land?
So they had it built, had the property, and built a big building. At the time, it was a motel restaurant on the corner.
Right, I remember.
Their boy Donald, their oldest boy Donald, he had a master's in education, and he was just an overeducated armchair school scholar that ended up running the motel, and then he died of a heart attack when he was only about 50 years old.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. So did Marlin have any mechanical skills at all, or did that just kind of slide by for him?
No, that's why his wife changed her own oil in the lawnmower. And, he didn't like to get his hands greasy. Just the opposite of us.
Huh.
That's why he sat behind a desk and we were monkeying around with dirty stuff. Don and I were comfortable when our hands are greasy and this and that, And it takes a couple washings, a couple days to get that ground up stuff off, and you can really grind it away. No problem. I can live with it. I can eat with it. But you take the average Joe Blow like Marlin, holy balls, no way. Man, put grease on his hand, whoa. Hey, how about fancy clothes? I'm the plain Jane guy if there is. I'm the blah guy. I like dark colors. I ain't much for clothes. I go years without buying clothes. Janet gets so mad at me, and then try buying me clothes. And sometimes she's okay and sometimes not. But Marlin, he always loved his fancy clothes, a big fancy car. I don't give a crap what I drive. I want to go from point A to point B. I don't care how I get there. I drive anything. I've had them all. Even when I was younger, I always had at least 3 cars. Neighbor guy's got 1 car, harping about it. I was maintaining. I said, hell, Bill, I got 2 cars and I got them in tip-top shape. I says, I'm a high-maintenance guy. I stay on them. I mean, I'm working on them all the time. He says, you're always working on them. Yeah, that's why they're A1. They don't stop till they're A1. And that's bottom line. And if you don't, they'll catch up with you. Your trouble will be along the road. We don't want that.
I always remember Marlin as that guy that could just talk your ears off, the super salesman kind of guy. Where did he get that characteristic from, or what would your guess be?
I know.
He bought everything and owned nothing.
Yeah. He
didn't own a thing.
They say the salespeople that sell stuff, they're the most vulnerable for buying stuff. They're suckers for anything that comes out. Some device that you clamp this magnet on your line going into your gas tank will give you better gas mileage. Don just bought 2 of them, but that's beside the point. We always laugh at that crap. Like Don and I were talking not too long ago about oil filters. How the olden cars they didn't even have oil filters, And pretty soon they come out with a filter, and then leave it up to some guy at the state fair to come out with a toilet paper filter, And then keep Don in the job because it plugs up and they can't figure out why their rockers and lifters are clacking with no oil. And Don figures out his problem, Oh yeah, we've seen it all. I can't believe it. They still got those devices. Once in a while, I'll read on something and I'll see a little device. I'll bring it up to Don. I'll say, how many do you want to buy? I'll give you an example right now. That where we shop, like Harbor Freight, they still got a little device like that they sell. Yeah, I mean, they say there's a sucker born every minute, but man, we're talking a sucker born for years on that one. Wow, people didn't think that could, it takes the molecules of the gasoline and makes it more vaporizer and all this stuff. And
so what's your take on the 100 miles per gallon feasibility of a car? Do you think that's, is that technically capable? And do you think, so in other words, are the oil companies in cahoots with the auto dealers in the sense of, what I'm saying?
I don't think that, but they're responsible for themselves, and they are capable of making, and they already do have cars that go 100 miles per gallon, but there ain't much to them. They've got a $2,500 car that gets better gas mileage than any car we drive over in India. It's called a Tatum.
I heard about that.
And you probably read about it. And it's a real dinky little car. It's cheapo, but it's $2,500. What the heck?
Yeah.
Like for somebody in the city, they're ideal.
Yeah, exactly.
For people like us that hit the road, but if you hang around town, they're great. But they'll eventually come here to, like they said over in Germany. Why it's working over there, first of all, they don't sell cheap cars at all.